Hi friends, welcome to my Mountain Biome guide for Valheim. I'm Icon and this video will teach you everything you need to know to survive in the snowy mountains of Valheim. So this video will teach you all the prerequisites, how to deal with the enemies found here, and of course I'm also going to talk a little bit about what's the spoils for all of that. So prerequisite wise, let's get started. First up, you need frost resistance. Before you have any chances of acquiring gear which provides you frost resistance, you will have to rely on frost resistance mead, which can be made at the fermenting barrel. Later, when you have bested the mountains to some degree, you will have gear like a wolf fur cape, which offers you the damage modifier resistant versus frost. You need at least one piece of gear which has that attribute, or you won't be surviving in the mountains because you will constantly lose HP. The other thing, bring your best gear so far available if this is your first rodeo in the mountains. That means good food, potions, stamina and healing potions are really good. And weapon-wise, you will want to bring your strongest melee weapons, but also bring some strong ranged weapons because the mountains are the first biome featuring enemies which make ranged weapons mandatory and not a recommended or voluntary thing. No, you won't be able to kill a few enemies without arrows after all. So apart from that, one personal recommendation, iron gear level 2 is too weak. So if you can amp up your armor as much as possible, it will increase your survival chances by a lot. Also, I want to give you a well-meant recommendation: kill the boss bone mass before you dive too deep into the mountains, because you will have no chance of acquiring silver without. I'm gonna talk about that later. Let's get into the mountains first. So the mountains are always looking like this, and here's the first thing: these steep slopes here. I really like to use the Ike tier buff for that. The other option you would have is to use the bone mass buff for high quality damage reduction. Also very tempting. So what do you have to fear here are two things first and foremostly. That's wolves and golems. Wolves are going to be quite omnipresent here, and they pack quite a lot of damage, and they are very fast. We will meet one of them sooner or later when we go around here. So what you can see here, these black thingies here are obsidian deposits. You can mine them with at least a iron pickaxe, and they are kind of like one of the first really juicy and sweet rewards up here, because you can create very powerful ammunition with that. And basically I would really strongly recommend everybody going into the mountains for the first time, go up here, gather a few chunks of obsidian, craft yourself a nice stockpile of obsidian arrows, and come back, because obsidian arrows pack a really nice punch, and they are very cost efficient in terms of resources. And apart from that, a nice thing about obsidian, it can be teleported. So it's basically just like flint, only better. And now let's go deeper. When you traverse the mountains, you will always sooner or later meet these wolves. So with wolves, they have a very fast attack, and they even attack that fast that when you block their first attack, you will almost never get a fair chance to retaliate on that. So therefore I grew a habit out of just attacking them directly. If you are a player playing a lot with block, I can strongly recommend you try to avoid that with wolves. It works really good to just tank the first blow and just punch the wolf into the snout and then keep going, because the sooner you have them into stagger, the better. Also, wolves like to come in packs, therefore take them very seriously. They are faster than you, and once they have a star or two, they are absolutely deadly. What to do when you get outnumbered by wolves? It's quite simple. All your enemies can't jump, so you can jump. So going for situations like these, where you cross some slopes and then jump down somewhere where your enemies are not that easily able to follow you, is a really strong and valid strategy that saved me my life numerous times. Also know that enemies will get away from you as soon as they have killed something or somebody. So if you are able to draw the wolves into some other enemies of the neighboring biomes, you're good to go as well. So let's search our next friend, the Golem. So here we have one of these beautiful little golems. They are kind of like the kings of the mountains, and you can compare their combat pattern a lot to the combat pattern of a troll. So they are quite bulky, slow, and they pack a horrible punch. As you've seen here, sprinting when he started to swing wasn't enough. So my personal go-to strategy is using arrows, lots of them, because while arrows might be not the most efficient weapon to use against these guys, they are for sure the most safe and sane method of fighting a golem. Of course, if you are with more people than just a lone Viking, other strategies might be applied, but for sure this was one strategy that worked out several times for me, and that's really a good thing to go for. So another thing to know about golems is you can quite effectively kite them into other enemies, because golems will attack pretty much everything out there. Not only you, but also wolves and such, and I've already made the experience that when I was too tired fighting these guys, kiting them into a group of wolves worked out pretty decently as well. And apart from that, as you see here, the red exclamation mark above his head moved away, and when that happens, if you want to stop the fight there, that's your get out of jail free ticket. You won't be hassled by the golem at this point anymore. That's some pattern in their behavior that's just implemented, and it's quite useful to know. But if you want to go through with that fight, there's a different strategy you can go for, and I did that already. You might have noticed that, because when enemies turn their backs on you, you deal a lot more damage. And I just waited until he really turned his back on me, and then, well, I did 70 damage instead of these 30-ish. And yeah, that's how you beat a golem. That's really not too exciting, but it is the safest way I have discovered so far. So feel free to share other strategies if you wanna, but I will now kill this guy peacefully, or just let it pass. And after the golems come the drakes. So these are, after all, the enemies which are making ranged weapons no longer mandatory anymore. These blue little guys here love to spit ice at you, and they just hover around the skies. The real big problem about them is not their damage at all, because you will have to be frost resistant to survive here anyways. Let's see if I take it down. Well, not quite. The real issue with these guys is that wolves attack you on the ground, and, you know, there's one thing you won't be paying attention to if there are dragons around you: the ground. So their real danger lies in their distraction qualities, and they are basically flying all around the mountains. I consider them the least dangerous enemies on the mountains. They are, after all, like I mentioned, due to their distraction factor, quite dangerous. They also harbor these wonderful little nests, so if you ever happen to need a dragon egg, pick one up. It's pretty heavy though. It is 200 kilo, and you have to carry it manually. So I won't be spoilering what it's for though. And now, last but not least, let's talk about the last enemy here, and then about Silva. So the last enemy here available is not, I can't show him right now because it's not night, it's a werewolf type enemy. I'm not showcasing him here because, first off, I want to not spoil all the surprises, and apart from that, I think I don't need to tell you much about that. They are basically like wolves on crack. They have a really powerful leap attack, and they are pretty much as fast as a wolf, and they do more damage than them, and, well, they have more HP. So basically every rule applies that applies to a wolf, except for bring better gear. I would strongly recommend you to avoid nighttime on the mountains if you're alone due to them, unless you have acquired at least some silver gear, which gives you the ability to deal extra damage against unholy enemies. So how to acquire silver is quite easy. Once you have the Wishbone, you just equip that, and then when you get closer to a silver vein, this will happen. Oh, hi. So you've seen this greenish pulse, and here we go. Oh, I'm out of arrows. So, and the closer you get, the more intense the pulses grow, and once you're there, you'll have a relatively high-pitched noise constantly pulsing there, and then you just swing out your pickaxe and then off you go. Just keep in mind that silver acquisition in the mountains is a pretty logistics-heavy business, and therefore you will have to get that stuff off the mountain. So in this scenario, the tree marks the spot. Keep in mind that you will be attacked by mountain monsters while you are acquiring these, and therefore gathering silver is one of the most challenging tasks in the game so far after you have managed to go through the iron game. The enemies here are a lot more difficult, and mountains tend to be a little bit more remote, so you either build a base around that to refine your silver right away, or you must think of other things like transporting it on ships or stuff like that. Loot-wise, you will find, of course, up here in the mountains, wolf pelts and dragon trophies and frost clans and things to craft a lot of new items and weapons with. I don't want to go too deep into that, but I want to only mention that the most important items you can craft to begin with are the wolf cape, which only needs a very low investment of silver, and wolf fur. So the first few trips you should be just focused on turning on your frost resistance with that mead, and then trying to acquire a few wolf pelts, a few silver ore scraps, and then just head home and craft your frost resistance, or go over here with a ton of frost resistance mead potions. It's up to you, but I really enjoyed to have a permanent solution against that damage. Alrighty, so I hope that helped you out to survive up here. Feel free to drop me comments down below if you think I've missed out something which is absolutely worth mentioning, or if you have any further questions, just ask on. I gladly do my best to answer them. And of course, leave a like or even a subscribe to the channel if you found that helpful and you want to give back some of that support. I'd be super happy if you did. But nevertheless, I hope you're having a great time and enjoying your Viking life in Valheim. Catch you guys then. Bye-bye.